that makes sense what I'm saying. So there's no link in my understanding. The problems started way before the foreign problems and whatnot started way before we could have anything that we have now.
David, do you agree there's no link? What do you think is fueling then this tensions between the locals and foreign nationals?
Look, thank you very much for the opportunity. I don't agree. I think there is a link. I agree that this problem started way back, but with the influx of foreign illegals, it's become worse and worse and worse. You said earlier in your program, you alluded to Joe Biden, and that just struck something to me. You know, when I look at the previous, Trump, build a wall, and all of a sudden the influx was less, and there was no crime problems. Well, there was crime, but not that bad. As soon as Biden opened up the borders, crime went rampant. And we can look abroad and see what happened there, and we look to our own situation, and it is exactly the same thing. I'm not saying we must build a wall. What I'm saying is that the illegals coming into the country is taking the jobs. Don't make a mistake. I'm not saying that there's not enough opportunities for everybody, but unfortunately, I think that the South Africans are standing last in the row at the moment because they feel they're still living in poverty. They're coming out of poverty and they stayed in poverty under this government also. And that is the biggest problem we've got. The poverty is creating also the bigger problem, that's crime and going with it. Yes, we can say that the foreign illegals, yes, definitely have something to do with it.
I'll bring in our guest a little later on with regards to this in terms of if there are any studies that actually show that the foreign nationals that are coming into South Africa actually do take jobs that are meant for locals or locals who are qualified for this. No, Bushle, what do you have to say with regards to this? I understand what David was saying. It's not saying physically build a wall, but is that the route to go?
No, greetings, revolutionary greetings to everybody. I am totally against that because I fully believe in one Africa. I fully believe that we have to take our African brothers and sisters in refuge because we are all oppressed and we have all experienced infringement and economic infringement, and to say that we are raising the flag of revolt against each other is not right, because we should be raising the flag of revolt against the main person. We should be attacking the main issue and not going around it and giving into propaganda and giving into misinformation because of what the media says to the masses.
Carter, what do you have to say with regard to that? Did we just lose Carter? Okay, we'll try to get to Carter in a short while. Let's bring in Christopher Claessens from Cape Town. With regards to what is fueling this tension, you heard various views coming from different standpoints. In your community in Cape Town, what's your experience? If you can unmute, Christopher.
Good evening, Kingdom. Greetings to everybody out there, to all our viewers. Yeah, what I discovered is we live in a country, a lawless country, and in this country, everybody can just do as they want to do. And that is why people flooding and corruption is probably the biggest cause of what is happening in our countries. Africans are frustrated. They are upset. They can't live. How can you feed other people outside your house while your own people in your own house is hungry? So Africans are not happy with it. And where is the problem? It's with our government. They need to come up with a plan, and they need to expedite that plan very quickly to really avoid what is happening here. And people blame our government, our lawmakers. So Spectrum National Party feels that it is time for change. And as long as that's going to continue with our existing government, things are not going to change in this country now. We need to come with a new plan, a new party, and surely things will definitely change in this country when we come together, come up with a new plan, and to make our Africans happy. Because why we are not happy? Because why the corruption is the main cause of it. There's burning issues in this country, which is part of the, I can say, legal and illegal foreigners. Our country is really adding value to the conditions where our country is in. So we need to come up with a new plan. The existing plan don't work. Let us stand together. That is what we should do at this current moment. So we believe
Yeah.
that
Sorry to cut you there, Christopher. You're fast running out of time, but we'll come back to that position, your point actually. With regards to the definition of xenophobia, dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries, do you think in large parts South Africans are xenophobic?
To a certain degree, yes. South Africans are xenophobic. I am totally opposed to the notion that suggests that xenophobia is perpetuated by the socio-economic status of South Africans. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got something to do with hatred for common people. You see, we've got a moral obligation to house and host foreign nationals, especially African foreign nationals. We've got a moral obligation to that, apart from the constitutional obligation. But you cannot go and say, when you now lose that moral obligation and you have got low moral standards of hating fellow African brothers, you blame it on the socio-economic status of your own country. So we should separate the two. The socio-economic challenges that we are facing have got everything to do with the failures of our policy, with the failures of the global economic situation. And it's got nothing to do with the existence of foreigners in our country. So I'm saying, let us separate the two before we are able to fight xenophobia on its own without attaching it to the poverty levels of South Africans. Thanks.
Look, we've got lots to discuss, and we were going to bring our digital audience back as well with regards to the burning question of today and the week, actually, in terms of, is there a link between the dire state of the South African economy as well as the perceived or apparent tensions between locals and foreign nationals? You have been tweeting us at It's Topical SABC. Let's look at some of your tweets. Veli says, ask Kopenhagen representative, who will be coming in later on, by the way, what qualifies one to be a refugee? The second question is, where on earth an illegal person has equal rights as locals to denounce cabinet minister? And the third one, to the Zimbabwe in particular, how often does the organization engage ZANU-PF government to restore order in Zim, says Veli. Let's put up another tweet with regards to our question of the day, Dlamini. Even further, the Bill of Rights was drafted intentionally to protect everyone in the Republic, regardless of their status. That's why no one, whether illegal or not, can today be sentenced to death. So it can be that there is selective application of their rights, says Dlamini.ts. Sekhoja says, what do the mouthpieces of undocumented foreign nationals call the fight between Lesotho and Zimbabwe foreign nationals working on the farms in the Republic of Western Cape? Because the South Africans said to be xenophobic when they stand against foreign nationals. And this is, I stand with the marginalized. In my view, there is no tensions between South Africans and foreign nationals. Put South Africans first is collective voices of South Africans. An influx of illegal immigrants in South Africa is causing many problems, especially in townships where many of these immigrants are staying. We do appreciate your thoughts at It's Topical SABC. That's where we're at in terms of our social media platform on Twitter. We're also on WhatsApp. The number to dial here in studio, 011-714-5958. Also on WhatsApp, 078-459-1819. You'll get used to those numbers as the weeks progress. It is such a pleasure being with you on this first edition of It's Topical. We're going to take a break. More next. It's Topical. It's a show where South Africans are having their say regarding the burning issues of the weekend. Tonight, we're discussing whether there is this link between the dire state of the South African economy as well as the apparent rising tensions between locals and foreign nationals. Now, one person who strongly believes that the current economic challenges that South Africans face cannot be attributed to foreign nationals is the leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema. Malema holds the view that the escalating tensions in the country against foreign nationals in particular are misplaced and that closer cooperation among Africans is needed. Malema said that he said this in an interview with the SABC News international editor, Sophie Mokwena. Take a look.
We are struggling now, and we can't blame it on Zimbabweans because we're struggling because of landlessness. We do not own the economy. The owners of the economy who make profit, we're told now unemployment has increased, but the economy has grown. And that is not translating into fighting poverty and creating employment, because those who benefit from the economic growth are refusing to reinvest that back into the economy of South Africa. In the whole country and the whole continent, to an extent, we do not produce a car. These people who come to South Africa, let's take Nigerians for instance. Nigeria is doing well, better than us. It's always either us or Nigeria, number one. They still leave their country and come here. It's not because there is an economic crisis per se. There should be something unique about us. These Africans like us. They look up to South Africa. Why is South Africa not producing a South African car? Because there is already the continental market. Quarter a population of Africa is in Nigeria. Why do you fight them instead of embracing them and making them your customers because they love everything South African?
All right, I want to discuss this further, and to help us unpack this issue in studio right now with me are three guests with opposing views. Our digital audience is still with us as well, following this discussion from home. Our first guest is Kwena Molekwa from the Put South Africa First movement. Then we have July Eccles from Kopanang Africa, a movement which is seeking, I understand, to unite Africans in this country. And soon we'll be joined by Skype from Cape Town, Labour analyst Tay Bell, who'll be giving us a critical look at the South African economy and why it is prone to what some call xenophobic tensions. Welcome to you all.
Good evening.
Kwena, let me start with you with regards to what Mr. Malema just said there in that clip in conversation with our foreign editor, Sophie Mokoena. Can't be attributed, that is the tensions, to foreign nationals. You agree?
I disagree, actually.
Why?
One, in South Africa, as we are speaking currently, the high unemployment rate of South Africans, and you cannot actually shy away from it. Two is that in South Africa, we have laws. The Immigration Act is not actually enforced. Section 49 for that specific matter of the Immigration Act is not enforced. We have labor laws, Employment Equity Act and the Service Act, again, also not enforced. And we are sitting in a country where there is no even job reservation, and we speak of certain things like South Africans lack skills, but we're not giving them the opportunity to get into the market and be ready for the market. And you have 46% of the population of South Africa actually being grant dependent. So what are we actually doing that is wrong? Because of one, South Africans, they don't need grants, they need jobs. And we need to give our people jobs. To actually, for politicians to come like Malema and say this kind of things that they are not part of the problem. Where else, when they campaign, they speak of jobs, manje. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
July, if I can bring you in with regards to, is there a direct correlation between foreign nationals here in South Africa and the economy? That's our question of the day. And many are saying yes, many are saying no, there's no correlation. Are there any studies that show that this is the case, whereby foreign nationals are coming here and actually taking jobs that are meant for South Africans? What's your organization saying?
So I think it's very important to acknowledge, and I actually agree with my colleague here, that we are in a dire situation with employment. I think it's obvious to all of us. We're sitting with close to 50% unemployment, 74% youth unemployment. Now, the part where I think we disagree, the 2021 census from Stats SA shows that there are only 6.5% non-nationals in the country. And so you have to ask yourself, how is it possible that 6.5% are non-nationals and 93.5% are nationals, and yet we attribute our unemployment problem to non-nationals? And when you look at a country like, I don't know, China, for instance, they have so many people there, but their economy is structured in such a way that they don't have this mass employment problem that we have.
Is there a particular reason why you say non-nationals instead of foreign nationals?
So this is the preferred term that non-nationals themselves prefer. When one says something like illegal immigrants, it's very alienating. It's actually quite discriminatory because it makes it sound as if the person is not belonging, or, you know, use terms like illegals. These are very dehumanizing terms.
Gwena, you laughed at that. Why?
Because on the other side, we need to be very clear. If I go to Africa or I go to Zimbabwe, which is the neighboring country, I'm referred as a foreigner. So why is it that in South Africa, when we speak of these terms, you are a foreigner, people want to take offense? We want to decorate everything and have this distortion of terms and what, I don't know, because those things are not going to help. And to say that illegal or whatever, those kind of things, it doesn't help. We have a problem in South Africa. We don't even know how many illegal people are here in the first place. So those things you cannot actually just want to brush it out. We have porous borders that are contributing to this. Our borders are not benefiting the economy. The free movement of goods is not benefiting the economy in South Africa, but is benefiting syndicates. And to just want to actually decorate things and make terms and keep on making the issue that started in 2008 and then think that it's just going to go away because of we are having discussions and we are not wanting to hear what South Africans are saying on the ground is going to go away. It just means that nobody is willing to listen to South Africans and what our demands are actually.
From what I'm understanding in terms of your organization is that you are not saying a blanket hatred with regards to foreign nationals, but illegal foreign nationals is your main concern. Did I get that right?
To say just a blanket on the other side, it doesn't just, we speak of like every other country. For you to travel to Europe now, you need to be bringing a certain skill in Europe. And you need to show them that you are able to actually even cater for your own medical bills. But in South Africa, we're having people, and as we are speaking, there's a video of Rahim Musa Hospital, where South African women are lying on the floor. They have to give birth on the floor because there is somebody who is illegal that is occupying the bed. But when you go to certain countries, you go there, you even have to take an insurance of the road. In South Africa, we're giving rough to everybody as if we are the Father Christmas of the continent. But these people are not contributing to the economy. Some of them are not even paying tax. Some of them, they don't even supposed to be in South Africa in the first place because they don't even have papers. What we are asking for is to be like every normal country where foreigners are accepted and they have to be bringing skills that we do not have. And we must be very careful of even enforcing the laws that we have, especially the Employment Equity Act, because Section 5 of it speaks of the skills transfer. So far, we have failed to do skills transfer in South Africa.
Quinn, I'll come back to you. I know, July, you want to jump in with regards to this. I just want to bring in Terry Bell, a Labour expert on this matter. Terry, welcome to It's Topical. With regards to something called the National Labour Migration Policy, I want to explore that as well as something called the Employment Services Act as well and how it talks to this. Firstly, I just want to bring in and get your point with regards to any report or any studies, Terry, being done on the issue of foreign nationals coming to South Africa and taking jobs here.
Well, of course, there have been plenty of studies which actually show not necessarily South Africa, but actually non-national migrants from one country to another tend to create jobs rather than take them. Nobutle and Christopher that you had on earlier and Lipolile, I think it was, actually hit the nail on the head when they said we need to tackle the main issues. The main issue is who's really responsible. All this talk about illegal immigrants. Why are they illegal? The government that is responsible for that. If you talk about people taking jobs, and there is a legitimate argument that some people are undercutting the rate of pay. Who's responsible there? The Labour Department, because we actually have minimum rates of pay. If you have a look, and today in the City Press is actually excellent full-page thing on unemployment, on what it means now, and you will see that, for example, financial services is the one area that's actually increased in employment. I'll tell you something, Our problem is we don't have enough skills, we don't have enough people trained, and where does that come down to? Our education department. Once again, the government. What we have, yes, your original question is perfectly legitimate. Is there a relationship between the economic situation now, the tension, etc., and so-called xenophobia? I believe it's not so-called, it is xenophobia. It's because you're angry and frustrated. They want to hit out at something. And it's much easier, and that's where the populist demagogues come in and say, an easy scapegoat. Hit them. What one should ask is, who is funding these very demagogues?
July, why don't you jump in with regards to what Terry is saying? Is there a sinister motive behind this? But before that, with regards to what Kwena was saying, the accusation is that there are a lot of illegal foreign nationals in South Africa. The accusation is that they are involved in criminal activity. If that is the case, surely no country in the world will allow that to happen. What's your pushback to that argument?
Yeah, so there are a few things to deal with. So first of all, I think we need to look at this term illegal, right? It's not true that our borders are porous. Our borders are militarized, and it is incredibly difficult for people to move. And at the same time, you see that people are still willing to move. For instance, we see a large number of Zimbabweans come into our country to shop. They're coming here temporarily for a day simply to buy our goods. Is that not positive for our economy? One of the other things is that, once one tries to become a refugee in South Africa, it is impossible. So I personally know people who, and you can also look this up on the website of Lawyers for Human Rights. There are reports about this. The fact that people come in wanting to be legally here, wanting to find asylum papers from war-torn countries, and from truly terrible hardship. They apply for asylum. It is not granted. It is never granted. But they always say to the person, you can appeal, and you must come back every 6 weeks to the same office to renew your temporary permit. Now, in terms of being illegal, it's impossible to be here legally. So that is why people are often branded as illegal, and that makes them targets for police to go and harass them, to put them in detention centers. These detention centers are abysmal in terms of the conditions. So often people, when they get there, they're often tortured. And I'm not exaggerating, and yet this is not talked about. So when we talk about illegals, there are people who just want to be here legally, but it's made so difficult for them.
Good, I know you're itching to come in on this. We have to take a quick break. The issue of porous borders is topical, isn't it? Traditionally, it is SARS, it is the SAPS, South African Police Services, as well as the South African National Defence Force, who, various departments protect the border. Border Authority as well, Border Management Authority. So we're going to discuss this, get what Kwena has to say, her take on this. We're going to take a quick break, more next. Issue of the week, and remember, we're asking you, is there this link between the the dire state of the South African economy, as well as the apparent rising tensions between locals and foreign nationals? Please send us your thought at It's Topical SABC. You can also send us your WhatsApp calls 078-459-1819, or give us a call. There's the various extensions there, 011-714-5958. We'll take some of your calls in a short while. Now, we also took our cameras to a multicultural part of Johannesburg called Yeoville to gather more of your views. And over the years, the suburb has been synonymous with crime and grime, some would say, but a group of local people say they want to reclaim the streets while earning some form of stipend to keep them motivated. Let's hear from one of them, Majesty Mnyandu, our citizen journalist for the week.
Lapha siseyuveli ikhaya lama-artists eSouth Africa. Right behind me here in Times Square, the most famous part of Yeoville, where celebrities and popular personalities in South Africa used to socialize, have fun. It was even a tourist attraction, but it so happened that Yeoville started getting congestion, mainly with immigrants, some of them who are illegal immigrants. yabona nje la kwakunenandosi enandosi wawusuthi uhleli kube khona igenge yabafana ababehlala la bavele bangene enandosi bakubamba inkunzi phakathi enandosi udla and into ebuhlungu bagcina bebulele ngisho i-security lasenandosi ilapho-ke i-management yesenandosi yagcina ukuyivala inandosi kunamhlanje-ke yila sagcina sikhetha khona siwumphakathi ukuthi asifome nathi i-organization yethu ekuthiwa yi-Operation Lukisa lapho silungisa khona iyuveli yethu ngokuthi sipatrole sikline bese sisebenzisana namaphoyisa ukukhuculula udoti kanye ney'gebengu endaweni yethu isho khona ukuthi kusubalinda lana abantu bamazambane kusulandekiroli. 2 days ago, I was hit by a brick here by a group of illegal immigrants who immobilized themselves to fight us for cleaning our country. This is Iroki Street. Iroki Street here happens to be the most notorious street of La Ejuve. There was a lot of pickpocketing of cell phones when you were walking along the streets. But since we've cleared the streets now, people are able to walk freely. Crime has decreased. The business people can be my witness. Asibuze uSotobe.
Njengamanje ngiyakuthokozela yonke into ekhona. Umphakathi wenzile yonke into. Siphephile njengamanje.
So umsebenzi wamapatrol lona uyabonakala. Lana mfowethu abantu used to sleep la. You couldn't walk here. We are so happy today with the work that the councillor has initiated. EUVEL is now breathing.
We also asked you to send us your views via WhatsApp videos as well. That number 078 598 1819. And yeah, you did so. And take a look at this.
Well, large corporations such as JED, such as Edgar's, have been liquidated due to poor trade and due to foreign internationals. And now, with foreign internationals, employment is not regulated. And that contributes to low tax gains and contributes to low VAT. And with them, also cheap labor is being utilized by corporations from the foreign internationals. That way, those corporations gain in more. And also, an increase in foreign nationals means an increase in competition for jobs. And competition means an increase in tension.
Good evening, my name is Lusa from Pretoria. I believe that there is a link between the dire state of South Africa's economy and the tensions or the rising tensions between foreign nationals and the locals within this country. I believe so because for every action that is taken by the locals of this country as well as the foreign nationals living within this country, there has to be a reaction towards our economy. So for example, if we as locals attack some foreign nationals' businesses, not only does it affect the foreign national individuals' pockets, but it also affects the economy in a way of revenue income, as well as other things that the economy works on. So I believe that there definitely is a link. It may not be a direct link, however, there has to be a link between the ongoing tensions between South Africans and foreign nationals and the economy of South Africa.
There's a whole lot of factors surrounding this whole thing, but what I'm simply going to focus on is the small business sector. If you look at the small business sector, local nationals can't even coexist with foreign nationals peacefully because a lot of times foreign nationals don't even want to share their trade secret. So when you look at it from a competition perspective in the small business sector, they are already leading local nationals.
All right, those were your views via WhatsApp 078 459 1819. Please continue to send us your thoughts. I also asked you to give us a call 011 714 5958. You have, I understand that we have Freddie from Roodepoort. Freddie, a very, very good evening to you. What's on your mind?
Good evening to you and good evening to everyone in the studio.
Freddie, what do you reckon with regards to if there's a link between the state of the South African economy and the apparent rising tensions between locals and foreign nationals?
There is a very big link because what happened is our government is not regulating the influx of immigrants. And what's happening is there's a burden now. And there's a burden on our health sector, there's a burden in our education sector, there's a burden in many fields, like foreigners will take a far lower wage and they will not be regulated by the, like employment, the bargaining council and all that, and then what happens is those people that take advantage of them can just hire and fire them without any repercussions happening, and that's the issue.
Right. Freddie, thank you very much indeed for your call. Freddie's calling us from Roodepoort. We also have Anonymous from Tshwane. Anonymous, what's on your mind? Very well, very well. Please tell us, talk to us. Anonymous, you still there? All right, it seems that we lost Anonymous, but please do give us a call back, 011-714-5958. Let's bring us back into the discussions. We've got Quetta from Put South Africa First, as well as July from Copenhagen, Africa. We also have our digital audience. We'll get to them in a little bit. I just want to take it to you, Quetta, with regards to what we left off. And there's some issues with regards to the borders as well. You heard Freddie talking about regulations. July was earlier saying that we don't have an issue at the borders. Your take, you still maintain that it's porous?
Yes, I do. There's one even in AfriForum. They did a documentary explaining the issue of our borders. Secondly, Moeletsi Mbeki was talking about how a certain political party from Mozambique is bringing drugs in South Africa. There's even a circulation of that video online. I think we do know of it. I don't want to state the political party just for to avoid controversy. But to say that we don't have porous borders, there's even a video. Somebody like Hopewell Chinono from Zimbabwe was posting that video of Zimbabweans having to pay 500 rand to enter into South Africa. So July to say that we don't have porous borders, she's living in a shell, actually. And we need to attack this because of these middle class in South Africa that are saying this. They don't know what is life outside the suburbs. Maybe they should be the ones that are taking the foreigners in, and the foreigners should move to Sandton and stay with them, and then, we will be left in our slums, and maybe we'll be fine. We will have comfort there.
You have a fundamentally misunderstanding of the issues, says Quena. We'll pick it up just now. I want to bring in Tepo from, where's Tepo calling us from? Tepo, very good evening to you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. A lot of people really not focusing on the most important thing, which is the law. And the law says each and every person entering the country, they must come documented and they must be legal people. So it cannot be that we must accept illegal foreigners to come to our country and flood our system. We have women sleeping on the floor because of foreign nationals are sleeping on the bed. A lot of people that are working in terms of these hospitals, they're illegal foreigners. Some of them, yes, they are legal. But how is it fair that a child, a South African child, goes to school and studies university for 4 or 5 years, and then when they finish, they can't get a job, and a foreigner has already has a job? It's not fair. So what we're saying is we need to prioritize our people first before we can prioritize foreigners. We are not saviors to foreigners.
Tsepo, thank you very much indeed. Tsepo is calling us from Soweto. We have Nhlanhla from Johannesburg. Nhlanhla, very good evening to you. What's on your mind?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm better than I deserve. Thank you very much indeed for calling us.
I'm calling from Joburg.
Talk to us about your take with regard to is there any link with regard to this rising tensions between foreign nationals and locals as well as the economy?
Yes, there is a very serious link between the two. And I think that is clear. We have seen that, South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, is the highest with the unemployment rate in Africa. But still we've got immigrants who are flooding from their different countries that we don't know why are they running from there, come to South Africa. So with the limited jobs and with the limited jobs that we have, we find ourselves as a country that we have to fight for those jobs with them. And one of the things that we were supposed to do, since we've got this high unemployment rate in the country, was to go for the South Africans, this market, the unskilled market is supposed to be for South Africans, not for everyone, because we've got this unemployment. I can't believe South African can't go to Cameroon to go and sell tomato and apple. I can't go to other countries and get there illegally and start trading in that market that is meant for those people of that country. So South Africans, they are supposed to have this market for themselves. The law is clear that when you come there in South Africa for business purposes, you need to invest 5 million and employ South Africans. Which is something that is not.
And you're talking about the quotas as well. Then I want to pick it up there. Thank you very much indeed, though, for your calls. Please continue to engage with us. Let's bring in July from Kopanang, Africa, and respond to what seems like an overwhelming opinion that foreign nationals are here, a lot of them illegally taking jobs. What's your response to that in terms of the way forward?
So, as I was saying earlier, 6.5% of people in this country are from a different country. And that includes all of those who are undocumented, right? And 93% are South Africans, right? And often we also find that South Africans themselves get labeled as foreigners when they're from a different part of the country, when they have slightly different skin tone, all of these type of things, when they have a different accent, especially when they are impoverished and struggling. We see them often attacked as you're a street vendor, therefore you must be, or you don't have an ID, which many people on the streets have lost their ID or they don't have one. And our organization also works very closely with people on the street in these areas who are struggling, especially and including South Africans themselves. In 2008, there was a hate crime in Alexandria, and a third of those people who died in that hate crime were South Africans, and many thousands were injured. But to come back to the issue of jobs, this is incredibly important because in South Africa, of course, we have the most unequal country in the world, and of course it is across racial lines, and we know that is because of colonialism and apartheid, and we know it's because of ownership. Who owns the economy? Who runs the economy? It is billionaires and corporations, right? The majority of whom are white and who, by the way, are called expats as opposed to foreigners. But now what we are calling for is social cohesion. So when we see that the issue is scapegoated and we say that some people are stealing jobs and some people are legitimate, this is dividing the working class, it's dividing South Africans, it's making half South Africans looking over their shoulder and the other half watching their neighbors. And how can we protest, how can we fight for a better system when we're divided like this, and when the issue is being scapegoated? We need a structural change to our entire economy.
Let's talk about that. Bring in our digital audience as well. Tulani from Centurion. Come in here, Tulani, with regards to your thoughts. Is there room or a need for dialogue or platform to hash out these issues? What's your take?
Yeah, I think dialogue is what we definitely need in order to resolve these problems. What is happening is that you've got the elite, especially mostly politicians, who live in their own world, who are supposed to have a constituency which they speak to on a daily basis to understand what the issues are on the ground. But because there is that vacuum, we end up where the people on the ground who are not spoken to end up looking at issues the way they see them, because to them it's bread and butter issues. They share the same hospitals, they share the same other resources. So I think for me, there needs to be a serious dialogue. We need to actually look into our laws, make sure that there is definitely a law in place, because currently we have a lawlessness process. Home Affairs is at the center of all our problems, and there is no enforcement of any laws. You go to Home Affairs even tomorrow, you will see how the lawlessness runs in them. Even you as a South African, to do something as easy as a passport, as an ID, somehow you need to be able to pay someone to make it much quicker. So these are some of the issues that we need to look into.
We actually invited Home Affairs onto the program. Hopefully we'll try to get them. They couldn't make it. Eddie, jump in here with regards to your thoughts regarding who's to blame for this in terms of the fueling this tension. Very briefly, Eddie.
what I can contribute to this problem is that we need to lay the whole question in front of the door of the government. Our South African government is very quick to say that they've got the best laws, government policies in their constitution. When it comes to these laws, and then we're sitting with people that can't implement the law.
Right.
Then it falls flat. What we need to do is we need to get the foreign policies re-looked at, how we allow people to get into the country. If you look at, say, for instance, New Zealand, you need to have 140,000 in your bank account just for them to look at your application.
Eddie, sorry to jump in. We've run out of time. So much to discuss, so little time. Important point indeed. We'll no doubt have these discussions as we continue the week. We also want to thank our guests. Thank you, digital audience, by the way. Great to have you on the program, Quen, as well as July being in studio, as well as Terry Bell, giving us a labor perspective. No doubt this conversation needs to continue, isn't it? And let me give you my perspective. What a week it has been. A World Bank report on inequality in Southern Africa found that South Africa is among the countries that represent the world's most unequal region. President Cyril Ramaphosa recently commented that if you are black in South Africa, and in particular a black woman, you are more likely to be poor, to live in an impoverished location, to be unemployed. Is it because of legacy issues, as our guests refer to? If we look back at colonialism, apartheid, is it still reinforcing inequality all these years later? But what about the issue of corruption and incompetence? Does that play a part in deepening the wounds and widening the gaps? Corruption and incompetence will no doubt impact on the delivery of services, especially to society's most vulnerable. And if so, does it contribute to the tensions between locals and foreign nationals, pitting people from the same continent against each other? You hear people, you heard them today, calling on authorities to deal with illegal immigrations. Why? Because it compounds the serious challenges that municipalities are facing regarding basic service delivery. We cannot reduce poverty and inequality as long as corruption eats away at our hope for a better future. And if we don't find solutions apace, there will be dire consequences. And you know, consequences are in part a function of speed of process. But ultimately, our strength needs to be a function of our respect for one another as human beings. Animus can't be an agent for good change. And that's my point of view. My brothers and sisters, that's how we wrap up the first edition of It's Topical. Be sure to catch us next week, same time, same place, right here on